Video is going to discuss how to make a high-res, print-ready PDF for embossing items. As you can see, I have already set up my file in InDesign right here. And what I did is I downloaded our 9x12 pocket folder template from our website, and I set up my file with the die line template in place in the die line layer right there. And then I also set up my embossing layer right there. I chose a bright color. I chose green, and I went to the swatches palette and I made a spot color called Emboss and made it green. Just make it any bright color and make it obvious what is going to be embossed in your file. Now I placed my logo into the InDesign file exactly where I want it to emboss on the outside front panel of the pocket folder. My logo is vector artwork, meaning it is outlined artwork. It's a shape. It's not an image. We cannot emboss images at all. We make a special metal emboss plate, and it has to be vector format artwork like this. It cannot be an image, which is a raster format. Always vector. Now, all embossing cannot have fine lines or small details. They won't come out at all on the embossing plate. We make a metal embossing plate. We put it into a machine, and then we run the paper through the machine and create impressions on that metal embossing plate. Any fine lines and small detail will not show up. It just doesn't work well. So you can see this logo is quite large because this is a 9x12 page right here, this panel, and it's a big embossing area. And that's good because these little lines in the V, the U, the R, the T, and this E, if this was placed at a much smaller size, like let's say a hang tag that is 2 inches wide. Let's get to the document setup. It's 2 inches wide by 3.5 inches tall. This might emboss okay. It's marginal, and you can see it's quite large inside. The black line is the 2 by 3.5 size, and I have my template in here showing bleed, my safety margins, and my drill hole for my hang tag. This is okay. It's not the greatest. Because of those fine lines and details. Now see how small this is compared to the 9x12 size of my pocket folder. So something to keep in mind is no fine lines, no small details. They're just not going to come out in the plate, and it's not going to make a good impression when the paper is pushed through the plate. You want to make sure all your embossing artwork is vector format. It has to be vector format. It cannot be raster format. It needs to be outlined type, logo, whatever it is, a shape, not raster like Photoshop or JPEG. It can't be any of those formats. Now, I set this up as a blind emboss, meaning there's no printing behind the logo. It's just going to create an emboss right on the paper with no printing. The other option would be to do a register emboss and have, let's say, a color print behind the embossing so that when we print and then emboss the paper, we have to align our embossing die right to this logo so that it matches up to the printed part. You can do either one, blind emboss or register emboss. It's entirely up to you. So now when you want to make a PDF for us to create the embossing with print or without print, it doesn't matter. You need to either set up your file the correct way with this pocket folder die line if you're doing a pocket folder, or you can also send us a 9x12 size page, the size of the outside front panel where the embossing will be, with your logo set up already. Just do not send us a logo that is not sized correctly, you can't just send us an EPS logo or an Illustrator logo and have us place it. We don't know how big you want it. We don't know exactly where you want it on the page. Always send us for pocket folders the 9x12 if you're only printing or embossing on the front of the pocket folder, or set it up like this with our template and then set up your panels correctly. So maybe you want to print a website or an address on the outside back panel here. So you want to give us a 20x16 sized page if that's what you're going to do with the pocket folder. Otherwise, if you're just printing on the outside front panel, you can send us just the 9x12 page and we will place it into the correct position into this die line. Now, one other thing, this is embossing on this side of the outside front panel. On the inside front panel, it will mirror the artwork, and it will be a deboss, meaning it will go into the paper here and it will push out of the paper here. You can do the reverse as well. You can do a deboss on the front cover, and this will emboss in the mirror image of the artwork. I just set this up so that you could see what the inside will look like when you emboss something. You don't want anything to print here. You don't want to have any important information where your embossing will be on the other side of the paper. It's very important. Now, let's move the die line. So this is the page you want us to send us, or you can send us a 9x12. That's okay. But we do not want the die line in the PDF that we are going to use to print. We can't remove it from the file. And if you put it in there, we're going to put the job on hold, or we're going to end up printing it, and you don't want this die line to print. So I'm going to hide that. I'm going to File, Export. I'm going to save it to the desktop. Format is Adobe PDF Print. Click Save. Choose PDF X4 2008 from the Adobe preset list. It comes preloaded in all Adobe applications. Don't use high quality print and don't use press quality. They're not nearly as good. You choose this, single pages, not spreads, and you want to add in 1/8 of an inch bleed on all 4 sides. It doesn't matter as much if you don't have bleeding artwork, but if you do, just get into the habit of adding in the bleed into your PDF. So to recap, PDF X4 2008, this says modified because we added in 1/8 inch bleed on all 4 sides. Single pages, no spreads, click export, and it will make my PDF, which is what we need. Now, if you'll notice, this shows black. And I'm going to show my output preview palette, and you can see if I turn off the black ink, you can see the embossing ink is right behind it because I made this overprint so that both colors will show up. And if I turn off the emboss, you can see the black is there like that. Okay, so this is your print ready embossed pocket folder. Now in the embossing hang tag, you want to do basically the same thing. This is going to be a blind emboss, meaning there's no ink behind it. I'm going to hide my template. We'll File, Export, save it to my desktop, format Adobe PDF Print, click Save, choose Adobe PDF X4 2008, single pages, not spreads. I'm going to add an 1/8 inch bleed. Even though my artwork doesn't have it or show it here, I'm going to do it anyway because it's a good procedure to follow. So again, PDF X4 2008 says modified because we added in bleed, single pages, no spreads. And this is my hang tag embossing plate. I'm going to open up my output preview, and you can see I turn off the embossing color. This is just a blind embossing hang tag. If for any reason we get your artwork and we determine that the lines are too thin, it's got too much detail, because the smaller that you go with your artwork on, let's say the hang tag is pretty small, we might determine it won't emboss well, and we will reach out to contact you to make changes to the artwork or to thicken it or whatever it is we need to do. We will contact you if the embossing, we don't feel it will work well. So that's it. It gives you your embossing hang tag PDF and your embossing pocket folder PDF.